Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and we are talking about some of the trades, well, the couple of trades that happened yesterday, and just my thoughts on them, and I think overall they're both pretty good, except one team. Well, let's just jump into it. So, the Avalanche and the Nashville Predators have traded, and the big part is Ryan Johansen. I'm sure you've already heard of this. Now, Ryan Johansen has been, of course, we all know, on the decline. From going from 86 points one season in 2019, and that was the big year where the Predators were really good. Like, things looked really good going forward for them, and ever since that season, ever since they really lost that Stanley Cup final, things just have, just slowly gone hill for them. And it's a shame, because the team's got a lot of talent, and with Barry Trotz now, I think they're going to figure out things. I don't really know what their future holds in store, what their plan of action is. I think I'll probably talk about them soon, but right now, they finally moved out Ryan Johansen and kind of showing their hand like, hey, we're going to start selling these guys. We're going to rebuild and retool. And Johansen is a smart choice to move out. Now, of course, the bad thing about it for the Predators is that they retain 50% of the cap. And in return for Ryan Johansen, they are receiving Alex Galchenyuk, who will be a free agent. And I highly doubt that they re-sign him. And even if they do, who cares? But the Avalanche taking a gamble on Ryan Johansen, I think this is a really smart move. I did put risky on the board because it could be risky. And really any move for the Avalanche at this point could be risky. They really have a tight budget. Tight budget. And they really are going to have to play with their money well and make some smart moves. And I think Ryan Johansen, taking the gamble on him, is a smart one. Because the guy's a previous 80-point guy, and we know he was an all-star in his rookie year. He had a lot of upside to him. And even still to this day, he's shown flashes that he still has some nice moves, some nice plays that he can pull off. But last season, only getting 28 points, 12 goals in 55 games. So if he played the full season, I would assume he would have at least gotten to potentially breaking 40. But still, that's not really, really good. But he has been on a decline on a team that has also been in a decline. So with the Avalanche being on that second line, since the Avs really needed that second line guy ever since Kadri's gone and now Comfer's gone, they're going to need that second liner. And I think Johansen, being kind of a skilled player, being able to play with Valeri Nichushkin would be my thought that they would do. I don't think they'd separate Rantanen and McKinnon. So I would maybe say that maybe they put Lehkonen and Valeri Nichushkin on that second line just to make that second line really good, and then give McKinnon and Rantanen like a third guy to like Logan O'Connor to play with, and maybe they can bolster his numbers, maybe give him a little bit better looks out there just to spread the depth on the team, spread the talent, and if Ryan Johansen, if he could play that skilled centerman game and get the puck and start skating with it, make a nice move, and then send it up to Lehkonen and Valeri Nichushkin to get their shot on net, I think it could work out. I don't think he's going to be scoring 100 goals this season by any means, but I could see him getting up to 60 points, and 60 points for a second liner isn't the worst thing in the world, especially with a team like the Avalanche where they've got McKinnon, Makar, Rantanen, Nichushkin, Lehkonen on the team, Devon Taves, at least for this season right now, Gerard. They've got a lot of guys that can move the puck, and if Johansen can make some nice plays with those guys and kind of be that second scoring guy, I could totally see that. I mean, the team's a playoff team, and having Johansen, he's got the experience, be out there on the ice. I think this is a smart move altogether. Just, I think, smart. And regardless if it's not that smart and it doesn't pay out that well, I mean, the guy still got 28 points. I think he would have gotten to 40 if he finished the entire season. And being on a better team, I definitely think he gets to at least 40 points this season as long as he plays the full year, which could be a scary thing for Johansen. So, I don't know. I think this is a trade that will either be a big reward, which I think it's unlikely, but its potential have a big reward, or just kind of whatever, 40 to 50 points for a second line centerman. It is what it is. Like, the team's going to have to do what they can do. It's going to be tough for them to put together that amazing type of roster they had when they won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago. Well, I guess a year ago we're at this point. And yeah, so overall, not a bad move. For the Predators, though, for retaining 50% of the salary cap, I feel like they could have gotten something better than just Alex Galchenyuk, who's probably just a walk-off anyways. Like, really, like, Johansen's not the worst player in the world, and they're retaining 50% of the cap. I get that they're really doing this just to get that extra $4 million off the books, and they can play a little bit more with their money, which is smart, but still, like, they couldn't have gotten, like, a second-round pick or a third-round pick or even just, like, some guy from the AHL or something, you know? Like, I just really feel like they could have gotten something else than just a walk-off and retaining $54 million. So, for the Preds, I mean, they got a ton for Tanner Jeannot, and he was having a horrible season, and they got nothing for Ryan Johansen, and they held salary. Just saying. I think that's kind of weird, but overall, I think it's a good trade both ways. The Predators not getting fleeced, they just kind of doing what they need to do, moving out some cap so they have more room to work with in the future. And for the Avalanche, they get a second-line centerman who has the experience, who's proven, and maybe could be a big reward. And if he's not, I don't think so. So let's see what happens there. But now we've got the Arizona Coyotes making a deal no one in the world saw coming with the LA Kings. And I think this is one of those trades that is just best for both teams. This is a very smart move for both sides. The Coyotes, one thing that I said in my Coyotes review is that they have a lot of young forwards. Cooley, Geeky, Josh Stone, Nate Smith, Jan Jenik. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Whoever they draft this upcoming season, they've got a ton of young talent. Barrett Hayton. I can keep going on. His names keep popping into my head. But defensively, they don't have a lot. They've got, right now on the rosters, who they have best. J.J. Moser, who is a fantastic defenseman. Huso Valimaki, who is also a great young defenseman. I think they're Moser's 23, and I think Valimaki's 24, I think. And then you've got, like, Soderstrom, who, to me personally, I don't think is ever going to really develop into a top four defenseman, at least with the Coyotes especially. And after that, they don't have anybody that I can really think of. Like, they have, like, nobody except maybe, you know, like a Connor Garland, like Michael Bunting situation where a guy from the Roadrunners jumps up and he becomes a star out of nowhere. Other than that, they don't really have any true, like, young defensemen. And Sean DURZI, 38 points this year, 9 goals, 29 assists with the LA Kings. He's an offensive, young, 24-year-old defenseman on a low-budget contract. I think this is a genius move for the Coyotes. They need that, and now they've got a potential of having, for the future, they've got a 22, 23, and a 24-year-old, and of guys out there that they enroll 3 good lines of defensemen, or, of course, like, low 2 lines of them have Soderstrom on the third line, paired with whoever, and overall, this is just a genius play. They need those young defensemen out there, and they got another one. They got another one who's got really good numbers. He can move the puck. He's fast. Whenever I watch games, I'm not an advanced stat person. I'm not into that type of stuff. I like to go off the eye test. I feel like I know what I'm looking for in a good player. And when I'm watching the LA Kings games, DURZI's always been the type of guy that I see him out there, and he's trying. You know, he doesn't look like he has no effort. He looks like he is trying hard. He's skating hard, and he's young. Of course, he still's got room to grow. But overall, I see a good effort out of the guy. And for the Kings, they get a second-round pick, which for the Coyotes, they got 1 million of those for the next few years. So not like they're losing anything from there. And second-round pick for the Kings, not bad next year. But what's more important about this trade is that the LA Kings have a lot of good defensemen coming up. A lot of good defensemen on the team and coming up the roster. Tobias Bjornfot is coming up, especially Brandt Clark is a 19, maybe turning 20 now. Amazing young defenseman prospect that they want to slot into the lineup. And they've got they got a real jam and of those defensemen that they open up a spot now. DURZI, he's 24-year-old. He's older than those other guys. He's a good defenseman, but they'd much rather open up, and also they shave off a little bit off of the cap for a guy like Brandt Clark to come up on a smaller contract, a slightly smaller contract, and have a little bit more room because they're looking for a goaltender. And just that little bit more room, especially at this re-signing phase and free agency, and looking for a goaltender, that tiny shaving of extra cap space is huge for them, right? Especially at this time of the year. And they open up a spot for a younger defenseman to try to have that has probably a higher ceiling than DURZI, to have the potential to make his impact on the lineup and be a better player than DURZI. And the Coyotes get a proven defenseman who's young, And overall, just smart. It's a smart play all around. So both trades that happen, I think are very smart. The Predators, I give them like a C because I feel like they could have gotten something else, but they get nothing and they hold salary, but whatever. The Avalanche, I give it a B plus because I like the idea. I like the risk of having this type of player who could be a huge like a Nichushkin or Lehkonen situation where they just go to Colorado and play with those better players and on a winning atmosphere. And who's out there on the ice? I mean, when Johansen's on the ice, he's going to be playing with those defensemen on the back end, helping him generate offense. He could get some tips in. Devontae's wristed on net rebound. He just bounces it in, He's going to get those extra taps from those defensemen jumping up into the play that on Nashville, I mean, they got a lot of good defense in there, but not offensively like Devontae's, like Makar, like Gerard. And he's going to get those extra taps, and he's got the skill, he's got the hands. Maybe he could light up and get back to that 80 points, maybe 70, even 60. But even if it doesn't, he's going to get the 40, not that bad. And the Coyotes and the Kings, just nice trade all around. But that is all I got to say. So if you've gotten to this point, thank you for watching this. Please, I'm begging you, pick up your free subscription. And until next time, too sweet, have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.